The water crisis in Charleston is just one more sign that the nation's infrastructure is vulnerable. This week, President Obama called for an assessment of the nation's energy facilities and our ability to meet increasing demands. The energy grid is part of an aging infrastructure that includes deteriorating bridges, roads, airports, dams, and railroads. So how bad is it? The American Society of Civil Engineers in 2013's report card gives the country's physical plant a D+. Ray LaHood is the former Secretary of Transportation under President Obama. He is now the co-chair of Building America's Future, which is a coalition founded by former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg. The group's goal is to bring new investments in the U.S. infrastructure. So thank you, first of all, for being with us today. And I want to start out by asking you just how bad this is.
Well, at one time we were #1 in infrastructure, #1 in our ability to build the Hoover Dam, the Golden Gate Bridge, the interstate system, the best freight system in America. And now we're number 16th, Melissa. And we're way down in our ability to do what we have to do because we have not made the investments in roads, bridges, the investments in our transit systems, which are now all 50 years old. We're in very bad shape, and I think the way to describe it better than any other way is that America is one big pothole.
Wow. Well, where are we most vulnerable?
Well, I think our roads and bridges, I think they're in a state of disrepair. I think our 50-year-old transit systems around the country, every one of them needs new cars. They need new infrastructure. We have not made the investments, and it's not for a lack of leadership from President Obama. During the last 4.5 years, we put forth some pretty big, bold plans. The problem really is how to pay for all of these things. The Highway Trust Fund over many decades really helped build America's infrastructure, and now it's really diminished because people are driving less and driving more fuel-efficient cars. And the Highway Trust Fund will be out of money by the end of September this year, and Congress needs to step up and really find a way to replenish that and to really find the money to do all the things we need to do in America.
Well, I actually want to ask you a little bit more about that because we looked into the statistics and they're a little bit overwhelming, to be honest with you. Here are a few of them. There are more than 4 million miles of roads in the U.S., 117,000 miles of railroad tracks, 600,000 bridges, and 26,000 miles of commercial waterways. So where will that money come from to make necessary improvements? And is there any concept at this point of how much it would all cost?
Billions of dollars that need to come from the federal government. Some can come from state government, some can come from local government, but the local and state governments simply don't have the resources. This is a federal responsibility, always has been and always should be.
So what does your group do then?
What we do is what we're doing this afternoon with you, Melissa, highlighting the problem, but also talking about the solution. Part of the solution is raising the gas tax, which has not been raised since 1993. And this has always been a bipartisan solution. President Reagan raised it when he was president. President Clinton raised it when he was president. And now we need for this Congress to step up big, bold solutions, and part of that solution has to be raising the gas tax and indexing it to provide the resources that are necessary to get America back to being #1. When we fix our roads and bridges and fix our infrastructure, we put friends and neighbors to work doing the work, and we become #1 again in infrastructure.
Well, I want to switch the subject a bit here because as a former Secretary of Transportation, I want you to ask you to weigh in on the situation involving the George Washington Bridge, which, as you know, is a major part of the Northeast transportation system. Lanes were closed in September, causing a massive traffic jam, allegedly for political purposes. It is a growing scandal for New Jersey's Governor Chris Christie's administration. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, my thought is that, first of all, I have worked with Governor Christie during the last 4.5 years on a number of transportation issues, not the least of which is the Sandy funding after the hurricane. And, you know, I believe the governor is somebody who pays very close attention to a lot of details in his state, particularly when it comes to transportation. He knows the details of these things. And obviously, I, like others, will take him at his word. But I do think that this story has many other iterations to be investigated and looked into. But the thing is, you cannot impede the kind of transportation the way it was impeded by these New Jersey officials. This is wrong, and I think Bridgegate has many other lives, and we'll see how it all plays out.
Well, do you think the governor knew?
I take the governor in his word that he didn't know, but that's why you have investigations. That's why you have grand juries. That's why you really like the idea that people are going to really dig into this. But for the moment, I take the governor in his word. But I would also say that anybody that knows Governor Christie knows that he gets into the details, particularly when it comes to transportation in his state.
I want to also ask you about one more thing. You were one of 2 Republicans in President Obama's cabinet. The other, of course, is former Defense Secretary Bob Gates. So what do you think about the timing and the nature of the Secretary's new tell-all book called Duty?
Well, I think that, first of all, everybody should know that Bob Gates is somebody who represents the best when it comes to public service. He has devoted his life to the American people, to America, and to our military. Nobody can ever besmirch his record, nor should they. And obviously the timing of the book leaves a lot to be desired, but look, when you write a book and you're a former cabinet secretary, these kiss and tell books can come back to bite you, and it's unfortunate for Secretary Gates, unfortunate for the president, but he's somebody who all of us in the cabinet look to as a real distinguished member of President Obama's cabinet.
Former Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood, thank you for joining us, and obviously good project.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.